All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bringing you New Year's cheer from Under the Scope. Hi, everyone. I am so glad that you are here. We survived 2020, and I'm glad that you're back for another amazing season with Under the Scope. Under the Scope is a Scopecast that I use to interview influential people all over the planet and their knowledge, their skills, their abilities, and their contributions to mental health awareness. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am Kimberlon B. Every time I get to this place, I want to start doing a rap about being Kimberlon B from Phoenix, AZ. I'm an LPC. That's me. No, but so I'm a licensed professional counselor in Arizona. I've been in the field since 2012. My specialty is co-occurring conditions, and that's general mental health combined with substance abuse. But I can take and work with people separately, mostly adults, but I do work with children and teens. And the show came about because I wanted to get the word out about mental health and I wanted to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health. And I couldn't just do it alone. And so on this journey, I met like fabulous people. I mean, I have made friends through Under the Scope. I've actually reached out to people I do not know, and that's not even different from today, the person that I'm bringing to Under the Scope today. But I to know that everyone else has their different niches and their different specialties, it just makes me so excited that we're on this journey. And my goal, my purpose is to let everybody know that it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to seek a higher level of care. So that's the foundation of Under the Scope. And I'm excited about it and already have like half the year plan, everyone. So I'm really excited. But moving on, because I'm so excited. This is a new year, everyone. And I'm so excited that we have a new year. And of course, it's the new normal. And I know we haven't been, blind to the fact that it was been a really rough week this week. And I'm so glad that my guest, D. Renee Smith, is coming on. And I want to introduce her to you all. I mean, I in this clinicians group because me and my daughter was actually traveling to Atlanta. And I was like, hey, I want to meet somebody while I'm there. And I was in full tourist mode. And she actually not only said, hey, I would meet up with you, she met up with me and we had a great time even during that short time. And I promised her that I would get back. But I was so glad when she learned about the show and what I was doing, and she wanted to come on the show. And I'm so grateful for that. And one thing that she's going to talk about is self care, and she wanted to talk about self care even before any of this stuff happened. So I think that this is just so on point, and I'm grateful that she's here. D. Renee Smith, she's a licensed therapist, she's an author, she's a transformational coach. I mean, she does it all. And when she introduces herself, she'll probably tell you more about herself. And so, without further ado, I want to get this train moving and I want to turn over the floor to the awesome D. Renee Smith.
Well, thank you so much, Kim. I definitely appreciate being on your platform. So nice to meet all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. As she mentioned, I am D. Renee, the transformation specialist. I support professional women with being able to rediscover who they are, increase their self esteem and self confidence so that they can create a life they don't need a vacation from. I've been a licensed therapist for over 15 years. I'm also a certified life and business coach where I support clinicians with being able to transition in or implement coaching into their practice to get rid of some of the headaches that they have financially. So that is what I do. I enjoy doing it. I've been coaching for several years now, and I am also an author of Transformation: The Journey Back to Me, The Woman's Guide to Self-Discovery, because I personally went on my own personal journey of self-discovery, and I support everyday women with being able to do that as well. So that is me, and I'm happy to be here.
Right. Awesome. I like that. And so on your journey, when you were writing your book, did you find self-care? Did you find the importance of self-care at that time?
Ooh, so so when you talk about self-care when it came to writing my book, actually it was one of those things where it was self-care in the sense that I had to protect my peace, right? So when you're writing a book about your own life, it takes a level of vulnerability. It takes a level of, getting out of your own head, thinking about the judgments and things like that that you may encounter from people, because not a lot of people would know that I had been through half the things that I've been through looking from the outside in. So as it related to my self-care, it was more so me building up my own mindset to take care of whatever I need to take care of to get out of my own way so that I can put my product out there on the market to be able to help someone else.
Okay, that's great. I really like what you said about protecting your peace. And
Mhm.
I know I want to segue into that, into self care, because we hear it. So many people talk about self care. I need to engage in self care. And I want you to, in your words, give us a definition of self care. I know you started that and I loved it, but can you give us a definition so people can understand self care?
Okay, so I might have a little different definition of what self-care is. I think getting your nails done and getting your hair done, all of those things are like self-maintenance. Those are things that we do to kind of keep ourselves up, keep ourselves looking good, like to have nice nails, like to have nice hair, like to go and get our eyebrows done. All of those things are maintenance because it helps to maintain our appearance and our day-to-day lives, right? So what I consider to be self-care is something that actually transform you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, or even in nutrition. These are the things that we do to that just gives us a deeper sense of grounding, just to feel like we belong, to be anchored in some kind of way, to gather our bearings, however, people like to put it, but just to come back and be centered in some way, doing something that does that for us. For instance, I enjoy getting monthly massages. That is what I do because in that massage room, there's peace. So when I'm laying on the table, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm able to focus. I'm able to kind of listen to the music and just kind of soak in the aromatherapy that's going on. And it just releases a lot of things that I may have had on me from the day, from the week, or what have you. Exercising does that for a lot of different people. Y'all pray for me. I'm trying to work on that part. So exercising does that because it gets you going. And I did notice when I started working out, like in the beginning of my day, like I was energized. I was ready to go, for the rest of the day. But that slowed down. Just continue to pray. But spiritually, whatever that is for you, one of the goals that I set for myself this year is that I'm gonna make a conscious effort to get up and start my day at least an hour early than whatever it is that I have scheduled to do for that day, because I need to take time to journal. I need to kind of meditate. I need to get grounded. I need to talk to God and just kind of be with me and my thoughts in order to get my day going, do my affirmations, things like that, that's going to help me personally, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and to be able to focus. So those are the type of things that I consider to be self-care, those things that can kind of help to move you forward in your day versus make you look pretty.
And that's true. That is a good point. And I'm glad that you separated that because that is maintenance, self-maintenance. So self-care is taking care of us, the internal us. the external too, but really the internal us as well. Because who knows? I mean, we can look really good on the outside and be jacked up on the inside. And
Some of
so,
the things that some of the things that some people do, like this works for me. Like when I was going to work every single day and I knew I was coming home to my boys, they're 18 and a half and 13, I would just sit in my car, right? Because dealing in mental health, I was a clinical director. So, I'm dealing with all that stuff all day. And so by the time I pulled up in the driveway, I would just like sit there in an hour and my boys would come running to the car. And I'm like, no, I just need a moment. I'm like, don't ask me nothing. Don't, no, this is my time. And I would just debrief and just having that moment of silence and that just to be able to release before I get in the house and be bombarded with what we gonna eat for dinner, what you gonna do, like mama this and mama that, and I need to do this and I need this. And I before all that came, I just needed that peace. And that's what, that's what some people consider to be self-care. I heard one woman say something about if I could just take me a bubble bath with a cup of coffee without the kids and the husband for just about 30 minutes. That's their self-care because that's the time for reflection.
it definitely is. And I do like what you had mentioned earlier about setting your time back an hour. That's what I actually tell my clients in the counseling room as well. I'm like, just set that alarm clock back. Yeah, it's a sacrifice, but to go ahead and move into your day. I try to empower people and say, that's how you command your day. Like you
Mhm.
do this because you're setting your day by doing all of that, because
Mhm.
sometimes we want to get our sleep. We want to get that last minute sleep. We want to hit that snooze just one time. And next thing you know, we are out of the bed
Mhm.
running, anxiety's
Yeah.
flowing. If the kids are not doing right, I
Yes.
mean, you you setting yourself up
It's
for a
go
bad
time.
day.
It's go time. You hit the floor, it's go time.
It's
You don't
go
have time for
time.
anything
Yes,
self. Mm-mm.
definitely. I so much agree with that. Um, so what do you think are barriers to self-care?
Not feeling like you have enough time in the day, not actually being intentional about penciling yourself in on your schedule.
Mm.
Because, like you said, we're trying to get that last little minute of sleep. And by the time we wake up, if you especially if you have kids or family or anything like that, like it's time to go. And if you're going to work, it's time to go. Like you don't have that time scheduled in because every part of your day is filled with something. Whether you're going to work, whether you're watching TV, whether you're taking care of somebody else, whether you're getting somebody else's, doing something for somebody else, your kids, helping them with homework. We have this whole virtual stuff going on now, so you got to make sure they're doing what they're doing, with their work and follow up with them. And like we don't pencil ourselves in
Mhm.
enough to be able to care for us, so we run ourselves in the ground and we're trying to give to everyone else from an empty cup that we don't have anything in it.
Exactly. Under the scope peeps. Yeah. Pencil your self-care in on your schedule. It's perfectly okay.
Yes, it is. And it's not selfish. I say self-care, you could call it selfish, you can call it whatever you want, but guess what, if you're not right, nothing else will be right. Your household won't be right. Your relationship with your husband won't be right. Your relationship with your kids won't be right because you don't have enough. You haven't gotten to refuel yourself in order to be able to give back to them.
Exactly. Another question along those lines, because you mentioned it earlier. Do you think self-care is selfish?
I do. And it's okay. I am perfectly okay with doing me. I am perfectly okay with doing me because I can be at my best self and I can give everything. I'm happier. I can give everything I got if I just take this time to go refuel. Just like your gas tank runs out. It runs out. Even if you have the electrical one, you still got to stop somewhere at some point in time and go plug it in for it to recharge. So what do you think you have to do for yourself? We have to look at ourselves. We're running, we're running, we're running, we're giving, we're giving, we're doing. We got to stop and sometimes think about ourselves. We can't keep pouring into everybody else and just forgetting about us. This is how we end up
Exactly.
with strokes. This is how we end up with so much stress. This is why we always have headaches. This is why we're always feeling fatigued and tired. This is why we always feel stressed out, burdened, overwhelmed. That's where all those things come from, because you need to be refueled and you need to recharge yourself.
Refuel and recharge. So the chats is blowing up with some hallelujahs and agreement. Somebody, I agree. Someone say second that, and someone say you just can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't. I mean, nothing's gonna come out. You could tip it over, but there's nothing to come out of it.
There's nothing to come out. And even stigma surrounding self-care, especially for women, us having to be like superwomen, I can do this, I have to do this. And, before we know it, we are so stretched.
Yes. So I didn't do it last year because some things that happened, but the year before that, I typically like to do annually um, a workshop called Saving Superwoman, because she is a lie from the pits of hell. She does not exist. We are not her. We cannot be her unless we go run ourselves in the ground. Yeah, there is that notion that we have to see, do, and be it all at one time. We have to wear 17 hats at all the time. And that is a lie, y'all. We can't do all that stuff by ourselves. We run ourselves in the ground. I know grandma and all them did it, and it looked like they were doing it just fine. But half of the time, they were at home. They had time to do all that stuff. We just cannot do all that stuff, and we have to put systems in place. It's okay to hire somebody to clean your house. It's okay to hire somebody to watch them kids. It's okay to get you sometimes that you don't have to cook all the time. I tell people quick, look, I like to eat, but don't just know, because I'm single, but just know that I'm not about to cook. I like to cook. I mean, I don't like to cook. I like to eat, but I'll make sure you have something to eat. But I am not cooking. If I don't feel like cooking, I might do it maybe once or twice a week. That's it. But you don't have to see, do, and be it all, because that superwoman syndrome has been killing a lot of us. Stress, overwhelmed, feeling like we're failing, which is a part of anxiety, because we're not able to keep up with all that stuff. You got kids and activities, you got your own stuff that you're trying to do, especially if you're like working and you're trying to start a business and you're trying to do all these different things. Then you got your husband over here. You got to make time for him, because you can't be too tired to make sure your husband is good. You can't, I mean, listen, y'all get that superwoman syndrome out your mind, okay? Because she don't exist.
She
And
don't
it's okay that
exist.
she don't exist, and we don't have to apologize that we can't do all of that. We don't have to apologize. Mm-mm. Get you some
Ex-
help.
exactly. And then us even knowing that for ourselves and being okay with that. So we
Mhm.
can go and pencil in that time for ourselves.
Mhm.
And so my dad's on here. So how about self-care with men? Because I know my dad's on here. So I don't want to
I
leave him
mean,
out.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing for men. I mean, they have so many pressures on them as men. They got to provide. They have to be out here in the workforce dealing with the foolishness. Like, we have to deal with the foolishness. They want to make sure their family is good. They got to make sure the wife good. They got to make sure the kids good. They got to support over here. They got to support over there. They have to do the same thing that we have to do. They need to put in, scheduling some time for them. Not all the time, just like we can't do it all the time, but you need to be on there at least 30 minutes a day to have you some type of time for self-care. Have your own friends, have your own life outside of your relationship with your friends. Go play golf, go smoke a cigar, whatever your choice is, go do that. So you can have that time away to still tend to yourself and be your own person within that union.
Awesome. All right. So everyone that comes on under the scope, I ask them this question. So what is your definition of mental health?
All right, now, so I love this. So I see mental health as just like physical health. It's things that you do daily to tend to your mind, like reading things that's going to help influence you to not think negative, to be positive about life, doing things to meditation, doing all those self-care things that's going to mentally put you in a better space, to reduce some of that anxiety, to reduce some of that stress. Those are mental health techniques that you can use to keep your mental health in a good place. It's not a mental illness until it becomes something that causes it, that interferes with your ability to function. So we got to exercise our good mental health just like we have to do for our physical health.
Exactly, because we sure do take care of our physical health. If
Yes.
something's
Look at
out of
that. There you go.
line,
Exercise.
yes, it will exercise in a minute. No, it's the new year. So yeah, we trying to figure out how to exercise during this
Mm-hmm.
quarantine too.
But
Uh,
we but we're not saying our affirmations. You got to say your affirmations. You got to do your manifestations. You got to read your book, because life happens, right? Life happens. Nobody is immune from life happening to them. And as a result of that, we need to be prepared. Like we got some stuff we got to keep this right up here, because if not, it'll go left.
keep it right or it goes left. Can you explain to, I know some are probably familiar with affirmations, but can you explain what those are and what that look like, and so people
Okay.
can integrate that into their day?
All right. So there's a difference between your affirmations and your manifestations. So affirmations look like, for me, those things you say, I am, I can, and I will. They start with that. I am successful. I will complete, graduate from school. I am a smart person. I am a great businesswoman. Those are affirmations. Those are things that you say. But the manifestation is a lot is really more deep than what the affirmation is. Like we can I know you guys probably seen what was the show with Mary Jane, being Mary Jane. And you know how she was running around the house. She had like sticky notes all over the place with all these like different like sayings and affirmations to kind of get herself going. What I found in my work with some people is that it's not enough just to say, I am beautiful. It's not enough to say that I am successful. It's not enough to say that I will do this, right? Because it just seems like you're saying it. But the manifestation comes in, it's a deeper belief of what those things are that you're actually saying. It's the belief in the energy that goes behind that that's going to manifest those things that you want in life, because you know that that it's going to happen. So it's a deeper belief. For instance, if we have a belief system that money is hard to come by. I got to work all these hours. I'm working 2 jobs, and I still don't got enough. I'm still, month to month, right? So if that is our belief system, unknowingly, we're still functioning and oozing those things out into the universe. One of the homework assignments that I like to give my coaching clients is to watch the video, The Secret, because I love the visual that it gives. As a man thinketh, so is he. And it manifests. It shows you like these little things, these little waves that's going out there in the air and the energy behind it. Because I'm a visual person. Like it was I was like so into that movie. So I would encourage you guys to watch The Secret. But the manifestation is just so different. It brings those things to life that you're actually saying, and you have a belief that it is. You're not just saying I'm wonderful and I'm successful and this and this. Like you're actually manifesting. One of the best manifestations that I always say is, money is abundant and it comes to me with ease and grace. Money is abundant and it comes to me with ease and grace. Because if they have millions and millions of millionaires and thousands of billionaires, it's a lot of money out there to be made. And I don't have to work 11 jobs just to try to get a $150 house. Okay. So you have to believe that. And when you start believing it, your so many things open, like money start coming, opportunities start coming, things start happening in your life because you focusing on it, your energy is there, you actually believe it, and it happens.
Nice. You got to believe in it. And even if it's hard for you to believe in it, again, we were talking along the lines of mental health. What is preventing you from believing those affirmations? Those I am smart, that I can make money, or I will make money. Excuse me. I will make money.
Mhm.
Identifying those barriers is very, very important.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely. I mean, you need to know where it comes from. A lot of us, I don't know about anybody on here. I don't know anybody's situation, but I didn't come from money. I saw my mom be a single parent working very, very hard to try to take care of us. So at 14, I wanted to make sure I had my own job so my mom wouldn't have to worry about me so I could take care of myself. So all I grew up knowing was a struggle. All I grew up knowing was lack, right? So for me, I didn't see that. I didn't have that in front of me. So there was nothing there to show me that this was actually possible. So in my mind, it was always, man, I'm still working these two jobs. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it still seems like it's not enough. It still seems like it's not enough. Like, oh, I'm so tired. I got to work so hard. Like all these things, right? We're speaking those things into existence, number one. And then I believed that it was too hard. I believed that it took a lot. I believed that it wasn't abundant, right? So because of all of those things, it was hard. It was constantly a struggle. It was all of those things until something clicked and I had to
okay.
make that switch.
Wow. So yeah, definitely take time digging into what the barriers to the belief.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I really like that. And so what role do you see? I know you probably answered it, but I'd like to just ask again. What role do you see self-care playing in mental health?
Well, self-care is really important in mental health because a lot of people go because they're stressed and they're overwhelmed. And they're stressed and they're overwhelmed because they don't have that self-care implemented within their day and time. All of their time is filled with giving and doing things for everybody else except for themselves. And they feel like there's not enough time for them to do anything for themselves. There's not enough time for them to, I can't do this or I can't do that, or I tried to do this and I tried to do that. And instead of us making ourselves a priority, we make ourselves a secondary option after everybody else has, after we, everyone else.
I agree with that. And, besides God, we are the creator of our schedule.
Mm-hmm.
We can schedule that time. We
Mm-hmm.
can take that time out to pour into ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we said earlier, you can't pour from an empty cup. We have to get refueled from somewhere. And we
Mm-hmm.
can command the days, like D Renee was saying about setting that time back an hour to journal, to meditate, or whatever you do that helps you. And
Mm-hmm.
saying those affirmations and the manifestations and believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. So D Renee, you dropped some good nuggets on us today. So, where can we find you on social media or websites or any products or resources that you have that can help us?
Okay, so I am on Facebook at D Renee the Transformation Specialist. I'm also on the Instagram at D Renee underscore TOCCS. And you can actually find all of my services and products actually under my link tree, which is linktr.ee/D Renee, DRENEE. And there is a link to be able to purchase my book. There's a link to be able to set up a discovery session with me, and I want to offer that to you guys that's on here today as a free discovery session if you like. And then I think there are some other links to some other products and services that I offer under that link tree. But I do have like 2 amazing things that's coming up on February 8th. I actually start my course for coaching women to called Journey Back to Me, Rediscovering Yourself After Losing Yourself in Life, Love, and Loss. And then on March 1st, we're going to start our Clinician to Coach series and program to help help clinicians to be able to transition into coaching and incorporate that into their business as an additional stream of income to help them out, because I just hear too many coaches complaining about all these notes and, using a one-to-many model. It's really hard to do that as a licensed therapist, and you can basically scale and grow your business financially by including coaching into your services.
That is awesome. See, under the scope, it's something there for all of us, and get you here free.
Yes.
D. Renee's offering a free session for you, and I think that that's awesome.
Yes.
All right,
And
so
my number. I'm sorry.
I was just saying thank you.
You're welcome. And my phone number, the phone number is 404-850-0212.
Okay, we'll probably have you put it in the chat, please. And speaking of chat, so we're getting ready to take D. Renee under the scope. Hey, everyone, look, I got my little scope. So we're getting ready to take D. Renee Smith under the scope. And during that time, you can either raise your hand, of course, or you can put it in the chat, and I can actually read the questions or comments to her. But so going back to the chats, it's I like from someone, they said, yes, always manifest from a place of gratitude. And so I think that's really good. And D. Renee Smith, she's added her information into the chat. And so we're getting ready to go under the scope. So I have a question that's in the chat that I will ask D. Renee Smith, and then I will come to the attendees, anyone who have any question or comments. So the first question for you, D. Renee, is what's 1 or 2 practical ways to exercise self-care when you just don't feel like doing anything?
It's okay to not do anything. That's perfectly okay to not do anything. So your self-care of not doing, I've had a few days where I was just like, I'm not going in my office. I walk right down the stairs. I look at my computer on that desk like, I'm not going in there. I'm not doing any of those things. I would get on my couch. I would get my blanket, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch whatever I want to watch. And if I don't want to watch anything, I'll go outside and sit on my deck and just look at the scenery. It's okay, because you are actually exercising self-care when you don't do anything. That's okay.
Yes, and then in the chats also says the year of no, me first.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good self-care. No. Don't feel obligated to do anything that you don't want to do.
Exactly, and no is a complete sentence.
Yes, it is.
Period.
Period.
So any questions from the attendees? Comments?
Hi, I have a question, I guess, or something along those lines.
All right.
I help with women that are reentry.
You're breaking up.
I think she's frozen.
Then self-care. They're no longer in jail, in prison. Am I breaking up?
Yeah,
Yes.
you were,
I said I work with women coming out of prison. How do you encourage or empower them to take care of themselves out?
So I missed, I think there was a pause, but I heard you say, how do you encourage women who are coming out of prison to do some self-care?
I think that's what she said.
Okay. So I'm going to go with that. If you could put it in the chat, possibly, we may be able to get the second part of your question. So we're going with that. So coming out of prison, you form a whole different type of mentality when you're in prison. And I think it's going to be important for them to start with working on their mindset as it relates to what it is that they're trying to do, where it is that they're wanting to go, and all of the things that come along with the experience that they had. That might look like maybe they're listening to something, they're listening to a podcast that's going to help them, because everything doesn't mean you have to be sitting down in front of a computer. It could, there's podcasts. Now there's Clubhouse. You know, we have Clubhouse to where it's like a podcast to where you can just listen to some of the conversations that's going on there. And like we said earlier, self-care comes in so many different forms, whether that's exercise and whether that's just listening to music, just winding down, whether that's a time of reflection. Self-care doesn't have to be an 8-hour thing, in a 1 hour thing. It can be 15 minutes. If that's all you have to just gather yourself, it could be 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes are, you have to be meditating, you have to be doing something that's going to bring you down a level, like de-stress you, right? It's going to have to help you to minimize your anxieties. It's going to have to help you to kind of gather yourself. It's going to have to help you to get to a place to where you feel kind of grounded. You know, some people, it's spiritual, sometimes it's reading the Bible, sometimes it's listening to gospel music, sometimes it's just dancing around because you feel good, because, you know, laughter is good. Like self-care could be them 15 minutes you're sitting there watching Martin or whatever it is, or you watch your favorite, you know, comedy thing, because laughter is good for the soul and it puts you in a different place. So whatever that might look like for them, then I would encourage them to find at least one thing that they can do for at least 10 minutes a day. Don't have to start it big, just at least 10 minutes a day to help them get back to their anchoring or grounding place.
Right, awesome. So in the chat, someone asked, can you be their friend? Can
I be their friend? Sure. I sure can.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
No more questions?
I know.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Oh, okay. I was like, can you hear me? Well, I just wanted to say this was right on time. I have a friend who's a spiritual advisor, and we were just talking about manifestation, because a lot of people don't realize that you can unintentionally manifest things at times, you know. And I really like when you said it's about the energy behind it, because if you're saying out loud, you know, my abundance, it's going to come to me, but you truly believe that, or you truly don't believe that, well, you're going to manifest that lack. Because like you said, it links to what you really truly believe. So we definitely have to change our mindsets to be more open. And then also too, when you were mentioning barriers are very important, because the money that you're asking for is not going to get to you if you have a barrier, or if you have a blockage. So thank you so much for saying that. Oops,
you're welcome.
But I really appreciated that. That was right on point.
You're welcome.
Are you going to say something, Mika?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
I have a friend, a male friend, who is always like putting everybody before himself, and he's been doing it as long as we've been knowing each other. How do you go about and, you know, encouraging someone like that, you know, to take time out for themselves sometimes?
You know what? I don't know what kind of male friend he is to you, but if he's a boo, sometimes we as women, we have to take control in the sense that we have to go ahead and schedule that for him. If he need a massage, like, hey babe, we're going to get us a couple massage today. Or, hey, we're going to have date night on this night, and do something that can kind of help him to just relax, or that's going to be some good self-care for him. That could be a small getaway. It can be, maybe he likes to smoke cigars. I don't know. Maybe he likes jogging or walking, or maybe it's getting him a list of his favorite music and playing his music and some quiet and downtime. Maybe it could be that he just needs some quiet time. If he's staying with you, or you all are together like that, maybe he just needs some alone time. They just kind of gather himself. But just doing things that he would enjoy doing, that would take his mind off of the day-to-day life. And when you go out and do it, one rule: we're not going to talk about work. We're not going to talk about kids. We're not going to talk about all that stuff. We're just going to focus on, we're going to be mindful about where we are, the environment. We're just going to enjoy. We're going to soak it in, and we're not going to worry about all that other stuff, even if it's just for 30 minutes.
Great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. What if it's a no boo?
No boo.
And it's a friend. I like that.
Oh, well, even if it's a friend, you can still do the same thing, because you want to see your friends at their best, right? So that can be, if they like to read, that's mean getting them a book that's going to help them, to keep their mindset the way that it should be. Or it could be, okay, going to get them that massage, or it could be whatever it is that they like, taking it, giving it to them as a way to say, hey, you need this time.
I like that. Anyone else? Okay, question in the chat. Using Mika's example, it says, can a person who does more for others than themselves, is that a form of dysfunction or self-sabotage?
So if a person does more for themselves, others. Okay. So that's a twofold question. So it depends on if there is any underlying issues as why that's happening, right? So before I went through my personal journey of transformation, I had dealt with low self-esteem and all of those things. So I was a people pleaser. So my goal was to get some love and affection and out of all of that. That's why I was doing all that. I want to make sure everybody else was happy. I want to make sure everybody was good. Everybody had this. And in the end, I didn't get anything emotionally that I needed. So that would depend on where that's coming from. So if it's not coming from that place as being a people pleaser, but it's coming from a place where I'm just doing all of these things. And sometimes I think that sometimes still there's some underlying something there as to why that's happening. But just taking a step back and penciling yourself in, and to know that you are important enough to have your own self on the schedule. If you can rip around and be other people's Uber driver, these kids, be their Uber drivers, taking them to all these different places and doing all this stuff from them, then you can do the same thing for yourself. It might be like, I'll tell my son, like, they like to make plans. Like, no, you can't do it Friday because mama got something to do. I can't do that Friday. You can call your Uber. I can't do it. So, it's making yourself a priority and not feeling guilty about it. Just not feeling bad that you are taking time for us. Because I think we feel at times that we're failing, or that we're not a good parent, or we're not a good woman, or we're not a good wife if we don't do what needs to be done for these other people.
That part. That part. Yeah, it's being able to identify that, yes, and turning that around.
Yes.
So, setting
Absolutely.
those boundaries for ourselves. Anyone
Absolutely.
else?
Anybody else?
Anyone?
I would like to remind everyone just to say, remember to get you a power nap and don't let your friends interrupt your power nap because they want
Yes.
some a little bit of attention. You need your power nap.
Look, those power naps work miracles, okay? Them things can work miracles.
So that is my self-care. I have to, when I need my power nap, I need a power nap. And I'm going to sleep. If you're on the phone with me, I'm going to sleep. You can do whatever it is, but I'm going to get my power nap.
Like one of the things that I did, like, because sometimes I have a difficulty going to sleep. So I turn that phone off. I mean, it's off, the ringer off. I put it
Yeah.
on do not disturb. It's probably going straight to voicemail. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I can't control it, whether my phone on or not. I turn it off because when I go to sleep, I need to stay asleep and I don't need anything interrupting me. So I think what you
Unfortunately, I can't do that.
absolutely.
No, I mean, I would love to, but right now that is something that's impossible for me to do because I'm also a power of attorney for my father.
No, okay.
And he's
So, but
80.
even
So,
but
oh
you
no.
do that for your naps. You do that for your naps. I'm just saying that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Like turn it off. You know how to shut it down so
I
that
can't
you
no
have that time.
I wish I could. I don't, because I never know when it's going to be emergency when it comes to my dad. So, and I live, and matter of fact, it's just me and my son who lives here in Arizona. The rest of my family's in Texas.
Okay.
So, and I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
No, I
I
just go
mean,
to
but what
sleep
you're
and then
doing is good. You have those boundaries around what is your self-care. So that's great.
yeah. I just go to sleep with they on the phone talking to me. I'm just gonna take my power nap.
Just horrible. No. So I wanted to ask you, Dee Renee, since we have a few more moments, this is like a bonus question. So we are in this, and you probably heard you're in coaching, but this new normal. So how do you, or do you have any suggestions how people should establish their self-care now in this new normal?
I think it's important to remember that one, you have to do what is comfortable for you. If staying, like I have a friend that like she won't get out and do anything, but that's what makes her comfortable. She barely does anything, but that's her personal choice. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna wear my mask, and I'm gonna enjoy life through COVID because COVID isn't going anywhere for another year or so. I'm gonna enjoy myself. And that's just, I mean, I know that's taking chances, but I'm not out here all willy-nilly just not wearing my mask and just out here just doing crazy stuff. I don't do that. But that's the choice I choose to make because I'm comfortable with whatever. But do what's comfortable. I think we have to get used to the virtual thing, the hybrid. I think this is here to stay. The virtual stuff is here to stay. And at some point in time, if we do transition into doing other things in person and having events and going back into the offices and all of these different things, that is going to happen on a hybrid basis. So we have to become used to the virtual stuff and okay with the virtual stuff, and just being able to identify ways to safeguard or ways to recession proof your own life in the midst of all of this COVID stuff that's out here in this new normal and everything else that's going on. But just making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with all the craziness, because the news will give you all the craziness and it will have you stressed out and have you with high anxiety and all these different things. But don't overwhelm yourself with that. Cut it off because it's all negative all the time. And just make sure that you're taking that time for you to be able to adjust to this new normal. Somebody raise their
Exactly.
hand. She raised her
Oh,
hand.
oh yeah. Joyce, you have a question?
Yeah. Can you teach teenagers how to self-care
I sure can.
alone? What do you have for teenagers that, self-care is other than electronic devices?
Well, I mean, getting them into to motivational things that's going to enhance their self-esteem and get their creativity going. Because I think that that self-care comes with motivation, and oftentimes if they don't have that motivation, that lack of self-care will be there.
Exactly. I agree. And also I was thinking even with those affirmations and
Mhm.
manifestations in their own lives.
And teaching them about the vision boards and teaching them about, speaking positive. Because like I always have to correct my boys when they say certain things. I'm like, no, we're not speaking that into existence. Just teaching them how your words frame your reality. Right. So if you're putting it out there that you're not good, like my youngest son, like it just so bothers me. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at this. I'm not. Okay. Do we need to get you a tutor? No. Well, I'm not. I'm like, yes, you are. Stop saying that you're not good at it. You're good at it. You might just need some assistance with it, but stop saying you're not good at it. So just teaching them about reframing some of the way that they talk about certain things in their lives, because it's creating their reality.
Exactly. I agree. Anyone else?
Someone asked, do I have a website? I do have a website, but it's in the process of being, well, it's up, but I do need to get it updated. But it's drenee.org, DRENEE.org. But you can find all of my other links to my services at that link tree that's over there.
All right, Mika.
How would you advise someone who's an introvert?
Advise them regarding what?
How to self-care, how to get out and be among people, but yet, do for themselves, enjoy themselves,
Well, self-care
live
can
life.
come in even in being an introvert, meaning you can start reading books, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to music that's actually like feeding you, that's causing you to feel good, that helps to improve you personally in those areas. But if you're desiring to get out, a lot of introverts be like, oh yeah, this is my season. Whoop, whoop, like we can do our thing. We don't have to go nowhere, and we don't have to be, talked about because we said no, we don't want to come to the party. So I would say just take it in strides. You don't have to go out all the time, but just doing little things. I mean, now it's getting cooler, so I can't say, go somewhere and sit on the patio, but do what you feel comfortable with doing. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be anything significant. You might just want to get out and just go shopping at the stores. You might just want to get out and, maybe go visit like one friend or something like that. But it doesn't have to be anything big, but just take baby steps in doing it and do what is comfortable for you.
Exactly. And one of the benefits of self-care is that you can customize it.
Yes.
You can make it work the way you want it to work with what you like to do. So whatever may work for this person, that person, it may not work for you, but that's okay. You figure it out and make it work.
I love line dancing. Line dancing is something I love to actually do. I love line dancing. Like they used to call me the line dance queen. That was me. And now they have it online. Like I watch it on YouTube. I'm gonna learn me a line dance because I'm like, when I go out and hear something, I see somebody doing something, I'm like, man, I need to learn that. And that's what I do. Like I like it. So I mean, I could do that at home.
Me and that line dance, yeah, I love it too. But oh man, pray for me because I tried to do it several times and I am uncoordinated.
So yeah,
This is
just do what's
Lee.
comfortable.
I just had a quick comment. I think one of the things that was really critical about what you said about self-care in the very beginning, which of course I know about self-care, but I think you gave me a new way to look at it, was thinking about what transforms us. So we can think about even the person who just asked a question about being an introvert and stuff, or just all of us, when we think about, do we know what transforms us and what actually renews us? And it may be something that's not on anybody else's list or something that might even surprise you about yourself. But I think that is probably, if we don't know that, that should be the goal, is really figuring out what transforms you and helps you to feel completely renewed and energized about life.
Yes. I love that, Lee. Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
Personal development is self-care.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's great self-care.
Yeah. Like right now, I checked into a hotel like 2 miles from my house, but it's one of my favorite hotels in Atlanta. And for me, that's self-care. Like, I am being by myself all day today. I went to the gym. I'm going to order food in. I'm going to work on my book. That is helping me re-energize, get inspired, get quiet. But somebody else may die being by themselves all day for 2 days, So
I love that, Lee. Yes, staycations, absolutely.
Yes.
I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I love that. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So Lee, you got some kudos in the chat. And I love that, Lee. Find out what renews you. And we said, awesome, Lee. And then they said, I need a staycation. Thanks, Lee. That's right.
Look, there's nothing like peace and quiet. There's nothing like peace and quiet. And oftentimes when we find that to be uncomfortable for us, it's something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you should be able to be alone with you, right? Why don't you enjoy being alone with you? Yeah.
I like that. And it goes back to what you said at the beginning also about protecting that peace. If we have things in place to protect that peace, then we can enjoy that peace and quiet and be on that staycation like Lee that I need.
Look, I had me a little staycation at my own house because my son was gone overnight. I had it all to myself.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
I took my family and I, we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico to visit family. So the other grandchildren are there. And they have this thing of calling me granny and grandma. And I tell them in a minute, I'm not your granny or your grandma, because they call me Nani. And I'm trying to keep them to keep saying Nani. But we went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Now, mind you, I'm terrified of heights, terrified, but I love nature. And we drove up to Santa Fe and we were on the mountain and we were going around and curving and up. I did a video. I didn't look. I just held the camera like this and turned my head and as the car moved, the camera moved. But it was so much fun and so relaxing just to get out the house to do something. So I enjoyed that. And I tell everyone, pack your car up like you're going to take a trip. You can go to the lake, you can go around the block, you can go anywhere. You don't have to just go spend money, put gas in the car, take a ride up, take a ride back. And you're not necessarily around people either. Just enjoy yourself. Because that was when I needed that.
Yeah. I would love to hear, since you guys heard that transformational definition of what self-care is, how do you guys plan to, implement in 2021? Since, new year, new you, right?
Yes. Anyone care to share?
I'll share. This is Sade.
Hi.
So I think, hi, I think the main thing that I will be focused on, and Kim knows this, I will be embracing the power of no, the sentence, no, telling people no, and focusing on getting things accomplished for myself. Because sometimes I have challenges with that.
Awesome.
Nice. I know in the chats, real fast, before we ask other definitions, I know it says my best ideas come to me when I'm resting. And I can so relate to that because I've told Choice and I've told my daughter on here that my best self-care, my best work for me actually comes when I'm traveling. I have some of the best ideas, things are birds, and I'm able to focus on me.
Yes.
And so in the chats is more rest in 2021. Hashtag self-care.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I decided one day out of the month, including my power naps when I need them as often as I need them, I would be doing that. But I'm also focusing on some stuff that I want to do. Not so much as what someone else want me to do, but what I want to do and what I love to do. So I
That's
said
right.
I'm doing that for 2021 because I give a lot and I do a lot for other people. So now it's time for me to focus on me.
Whoop, whoop. Yes.
All right. Anyone else care to share?
I'm going to share, even though I'm on my staycation, but I was actually out with Renee the other night. We went to listen to some live music and we were celebrating a friend's birthday. But as I was sitting there, I realized how much and I'm an introvert, but how much I enjoy live music. And I was like, that's not something I would have had on my list, but I felt so relaxed and so free. So now I'm committing to at least, I'm not going to overdo it like once a month, but at least once a quarter, plan to go listen to live music somewhere.
Nice.
And we're in Atlanta, so they don't even know the definition of quarantining here. So I know you guys are probably like, how is she going to go listen to live music? But yeah, Georgia is a different.
Until
animal.
Biden comes in and shut us down, you know.
Right.
Well,
That's
you
a
know,
point.
it's a hot spot now. We're the new hot spot. So they don't know either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, in Arizona, yes. Anyone else care to share? Or you want to keep it a secret? As long as you have something, that you can do for self-care. And if you don't have something, then it's taking that time out after today to figure out what you can do, whether it's for 2 minutes or 2 days.
Demetra is going to do self-care with Braden. That is the best self-care ever.
That is not my plan for self-care.
Like, don't talk about
No, she's talking about my grandson. I do, hate that we're dealing with COVID because there's a lot of stuff I would like to do with him. Because when we were growing up, Choice is my sister, Renee, in case you're wondering.
Okay.
When we were growing up, my mother did a lot of stuff with us. My mother and my aunties did a lot of stuff with us and our cousins, and we were always into something. And my mother didn't limit anything we wanted to do. If we went to her and said we wanted to do this, we could do it. So I do hate that I can't, start to do things with him. Fortunately, he's only a year and a half, so I still have time to, take him around and do stuff. But as for myself, like once I went natural, I got to a point to where I retired from combing my own hair. It's just too much work. So I try to, maintain getting my hair done every 2 weeks and stick with that, whether I can afford it or not. But I feel like that's something I deserve because I've raised my son. I put everything into him to ensure he was good and he's where he's at now. You know, he's successful and just got married and all that stuff. So I just want to continue, if nothing else, just continue that. My self-care is, keeping my hair done every 2 weeks, because I don't, unless I'm doing family stuff, I really don't, do a whole lot. I do stuff every now and then. And so that's my focus. That's gonna remain my focus. that, in my career, just try to keep moving forward and taking advantage of new challenges.
Well, I'm going to challenge you right now.
Uh-oh.
I want you to look a little deeper and what could help transform you into being the best version of yourself, other than getting your hair done.
Okay.
Because we're going to
Let me
be
think
cute.
on it.
The grandson, I already told you, he works on her inside.
No.
So that's what I'm challenging you with.
Okay. I will look into that seriously. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Miss Ardell, did you have something to say?
You're on mute.
Hi, I'm just taking it all in. I have a lot on my plate right now, as usual, between my son and he now has 50-50 custody of my grandson. So my grandson comes over every other week for 5 days. So I am a caretaker to my grandson while my son works, but it is a joy to me to do that because that's my only grandson. And I'm an older grandma, so, but that is a joy and a pleasure. But I'm a social person. So my self-care is I'm getting ready to go to the movies and to lunch. So, I mean, I know it's COVID, but I do things and I do a lot of outside volunteer work, so I do have a happy balance. Good. Because I do have, a lot of things going on in my life, but I do find balance. So my self-care is actually being out doing things, and enjoying myself.
Nice.
When I'm stressed though. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I'm working it through.
I love the balance.
I'm working it through. Yeah. That's all you can do. Just stay in prayer. Just stay in prayer and walk by faith.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all we can do.
I love that balance. And it's like, again, what that balance looks like for you. And I really like that, Miss Ardell. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? Oh. All right, once, twice. Okay. So D. Renee Smith, before we close out, where can we find you again?
All right, my phone number to reach me is 404-850-0212. You can also schedule your free discovery session with me at that Linktree, www.linktr.ee/DRENEE. It's in the chat. You can find me there. I'm also on Facebook at D. Renee, the Transformation Specialist. I'm on Instagram at DRenee_TOCCS. And I'm on Clubhouse now at D. Renee Smith.
All right, nice. And your book, where can we find your book, Transformation?
It's on Amazon, and I also have a direct link to my book at that Linktree site. All
right. Well, this has been a pleasure, and thank you for opening our year and opening our eyes about the importance of self-care. I mean, I picked up a lot of information from you and from the group. And I want to thank everybody else for coming to the group because, like I always say, without you, there will be no me. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
And I really
Well, I just want to
appreciate
say
it.
thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity. The ladies on here are awesome and amazing, as well as the guys. And although we didn't hear from them, but they're amazing. And I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be here. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As you can see, this is my passion. I love talking about this stuff.
Yes, I love it. Any other time you want to come back, just let me know. And I want to thank everybody for coming again to Under the Scope. We'll be back next Saturday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And that's going to be a special edition next Saturday. So y'all are getting the premiere. In addition to talking about mental health awareness, if there are certain months I may highlight, and January is actually Human Trafficking Month. And mental health, of course, is connected to that as well, especially those that are in and those that have recently escaped from human trafficking. And I'll actually have a survivor on Under the Scope next Saturday. So if you don't have anything to do, please join me during that time. And again, thank everybody for coming to Under the Scope on Saturdays. I'm your host, Kimberlyn B. Under the Scope, where good tea and reads are welcome. Have a great week. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Dean Renee.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.